Welcome to lower downtown Denver, and more specifically 20th and Blake, where we are situated at Coors Field. Rockies game 2 against the Miami Marlins tonight. Looking for a little payback after falling yesterday 3-1 to Miami. It is another gorgeous night for baseball. And we welcome you upstairs along with George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. Tonight we begin talking about defense, the two staples of playing solid baseball throughout 162 games typically are pitching and good defense. And the Rockies pitching in their top three has been outstanding of late. We'll get to that in a moment. And their defense really all year, George, has been good.
It has been good. And if one of your absolutes is going to be keep the ball on the ground, the one thing you got to be able to do is turn double plays. And right now the Rockies third with 95. Fielding percent at 5th. Total assets, you see that, or assists, excuse me, you see that. And the number of errors, 5th in all of baseball. They put the glove on it. There's not a guy in the lineup that does not have more than 6 errors on the year, and you're in almost to August. Last night they turned a nifty double play here. The one I really liked, Drew, was a double play they turned, and it had to happen quick too. This one, DJ LeMahieu got rid of it in a hurry, got something behind it, and they were able to turn the double play ball. And this was very important throughout the ball game last night for Manny Corpus. He was able to maintain the ball game, keep it a 3-1 game with a couple of double play balls. Those are all great things, but this is the thing about this defense. It doesn't just happen in the infield. The outfield, to me, is as good as any. And the reason I say that is because of the ballpark they play in. The Ponderosa, a lot of land to cover.
Ton of land to cover. You really have to have 2.5 center fielders. Michael Kadire covers a pretty large amount of ground in right field. And Cargo, as you know, he'd be a Gold Glove center fielder if you didn't have a Gold Glove caliber center fielder in Dexter Fowler. So the defense has been good. The offense needs to pick things up of late. The pitching among the top three has been outstanding. Jolie Chassin on the hill tonight. More on his work when we return. Jolie Chassin, in search of his 10th victory this year, will go for Colorado. It is a terrific pitching matchup, two of the better young arms in all of baseball.
It is, and the thing that excites me about Chassin is what he's done after coming off the DL. He stumbled a little bit and then finished off strong, 6-1, particularly throwing well varied here at home. You look at those last 7 starts, we're talking about it, 194 earned run average. The opposition just 237. The walk strikeouts are outstanding. So, I mean, this is where a guy that has taken control of his destiny with his ball club and has become a true #1, a stopper in your rotation that shuts down the opposition. And you're going to have to deal with the other kid, a big arm. It's a big arm. He'll run it to 96 miles an hour at times. Fernandez also has a very good slider. He's got a good changeup. And he's one of these kids that's really loving the game right now. I mean, a minute ago when he was walking out to go out and warm up, Preston Wilson, the former Rocky, was doing a hit on the field for the Miami ball club in their pregame show, and he's behind him doing jumping jacks and waving to people. Most of the time, you're a little more locked in than that.
Yeah, you know what? This is what you're talking about. There's Preston, and there's Jose Fernandez. Oh, he's your starting pitcher tonight. That's the way he is. And I'll tell you what, we'll delve more into that during the broadcast on why he is so loosey-goosey, if you will, on the days he pitches. It's a great pitching matchup. It's Chassin for the Rockies, Fernandez for the Marlins. Come on back to Coors Field with us. Is brought to you by your 7 neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. By 5-Hour Energy Shots. By King Soopers, more value for the way you live. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Jolie Chassin making his way to the Coors Field mound. He's 3-0 this year, the 174 against teams from the National League East. As I mentioned a moment ago, he's in search of victory number 10 on the year. Danny Echeverria will lead things off again for Florida. I keep calling it Florida, Miami. They changed their name a year ago. They'll lead it off for the Marlins. Here's the rest of Mike Redmond's lineup for Miami tonight. It'll be Christian Yelich making his big league debut. Well thought of prospect. He's in left field. He'll bat second. Then Giancarlo Stanton, Logan Morrison, Ed Lucas, who had a big game last night, will bat fifth. He homered. Another guy making his major league debut, another well thought of prospect, Jake Marisnick. And then it's Donovan Solano, Jeff Mathis, and Jose Fernandez. .418 batting average for Echeverria. And and Chassin.
Very good record.
Go.
9-4. You see the innings pitched. He'd like to get his first career win against the Miami Marlins also. He's 0-3 with a 9 ERA against him. His run support at home, 5.73. And the reason I bring that up, his home record this year, 6-2 with a 4.5 ERA. But his team scores a lot of runs for him when he's at home. Home record overall, 19-7.
Here's Chassin's second delivery, and it's fouled off. Here's today's Farmers Insurance game plan. George, what do you have?
Command and control. And what I'm talking about is not, some guys have control, but can you command what you're trying to do? And I think that's what Chassin, trying to work his fastball both in and out, the slider, the curveball, and changeup. He has very good command of all of those pitches. And there's a good example, running that 0-2 heater in and below the hands.
Echeverria from Cuba originally, now makes his home in Weston, Florida. Here's the 1-2, and that is caught by DJ LeMahieu. What a grab by LeMahieu, taking a base hit from Echeverria.
You're getting it down good now. Echeverria with that line drive right back up the middle. You're going to see DJ LeMahieu playing up the middle, allowed him to take 2 strides and a dive and make the catch.
And now stepping in, the 21-year-old Kristen Yelich. This is how their outfield goes tonight. Yelich is in left. He's 21. Making his debut in center field is Marisnick. He's 22. And Stanton's the old man. He's 23.
Yeah, how about that, huh? Tell you something about what they've been able to do in draft to get it through. And how about it? Base hit.
Base hit for Yelich in his first major league at bat. And
well, the thing about
it, get the baseball naturally for him. Tulowitzki firing it toward the dugout. Takes one hop, goes up in the stands.
He is a young man that's been the minor league player of the year twice. Last year he was hurt. He's only been able to play 59 games this year. Battled a foot injury.
I was watching him take BP, and he's a skinny kid, and he looks like he's 12. Honestly, he really does. And he hit 2 balls, George, off the facade, back to back of the third deck.
He's got some power.
Here's Stanton. You know what kind of power he has. Both Yelich and Marisnick, the 2 kids playing tonight, both run very well. They have a lot of tools. And that's in there for a strike. Now this is really interesting. We'll show you the roster moves that Miami made after the ball game last night. Derek Dietrich, a well thought of prospect, and Marcell Ozuna, both guys they like. Dietrich didn't play last night. He was sent out. Ozuna, George, batted cleanup yesterday, and he was sent out. Now there's a reason they did this, not just to bring these 2 well thought of kids up. They want to let Dietrich and Ozuna, who are a big part of their future, kind of catch their breath a little bit.
Yeah, go down to Double-A, relax a little bit, play some games, take some more time off, and then get back to the big leagues again. Also, they want to see what these 2 young kids could do at the big leagues.
Stanton pulls it into the crowd, foul. It broke the bat. But George, when was the last time you saw a team win a ball game 3-1 and send out their cleanup hitter?
Yeah, cleanup hitter last night, and what a great job he did in center field defensively for this ball club last night too. I mean, a little bit of a shocker. He got a couple of hits. He walked. Ozuna with 3 home runs, 32 RBIs. He was hitting .261 at the time of his demotion.
And he has 73 hits, which is second among National League rookies in number of hits to his teammates. Echeverria. But he's going to stay in the minor leagues for a little bit. Here's the 1-2 on Stanton, and it's 2-2. And this catch last night, this may have changed the ball game around.
Runner on first, he's probably going to score if he doesn't catch this baseball. You don't see the left fielder in behind him on a safety valve. So if that gets by him, it's off to the races.
Stanton at the plate, 1 for 6 against Chassin. He's really the only guy in the lineup that has experience against Jolis. Stanton 1 for 2 yesterday, a run scoring double in the first inning. Strike 3. Stanton knew it. Chassin with a great slider, and that's the second out.
Yeah, threw with enough velocity that he was able to lock him up enough. He thought it was a little bit high, but when you're 6'8", you'll get these calls against. Good pitch by Chacín. Chacín right now, least amount of home runs per 9 innings. He leads that list with Wainwright, Sanchez, Harvey, and Locke.
Chatwood's only given up 3. He hasn't pitched the number of innings yet that Chacín has. Logan Morrison steps in. Lomo missed almost a calendar year with a knee injury. Returned in early June. Was out since last July. 1 for his last 17 at the plate. And that's a strike, 1-1. Morrison's at first tonight, and Lucas, who played first yesterday, has moved over to third. Miami snapped a 4-game losing streak with their victory last night, and that's in there also.
I think the one thing you saw last night, very good fastball hitting team. So you try to offset that with changeups and breaking balls away. Great location by Chacín.
1-2 on Morrison, and Yelich draws another throw. Ground ball to Helton, and Todd's got it. Morrison running hard, so Todd's got to make sure he gets to the bag. Good solid first inning for Chacín. Yelich gets his first major league hit and his first major league at bat. It's Jose Fernandez, but first a look at tonight's weather. It's brought to you by Bluebell Ice Cream. The weather's warm in July, as you know, and Bluebell Ice Cream reminds you it's National Ice Cream Month. Treat yourself to Bluebell's newest flavor, Rock Slide Brownie, and celebrate with us today. Temperature's 88 degrees, and the skies above, partly cloudy, and the forecast is for continued warmth. That is a good thing. Dexter Fowler making his way to the plate, saying hello to Jerry Davis. Banging on the shin guards of catcher Jeff Mathis. Here's the rest of the lineup tonight, presented by Southwest Airlines. Walt Weiss will have the same lineup as last night. DJ LeMahieu second, Cargo, Tulowitzki, and Kadire. Michaels hitting 23 of his last 24 at home. Then Helton, Rosario, and Arenado in front of Chacín. And the first pitch from Jose Fernandez is a strike at 93. Fernandez a 5-5 record, but a very low ERA. And George, the league is hitting below 200 against him. 196.
I'll tell you where that ranks him on the league average. He is 4th right now behind Kershaw, Harvey, and Bumgarner. Then it's Fernandez and Locke. where he ranks in the National League. 2.75 ERA is 6th. Home ERA 1.47 is 1st. This is a rookie we're talking about. The opposition hitting 196 against him. Fastball fit almost 60% of the time. It'll run nearly 95 miles an hour. The curveball, which is more like a slurve. And then a changeup. That's the two main pitches he will approach you with.
That was a slider there in the dirt. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Fowler. And for guys, they can rely on the scouting report as they have to lean on that video when you haven't seen anybody. There'll be a lot of conversations with some of the guys who come up first. What kind of movement does he have? That sort of thing in the dugout. 3-2. Deck's on a fact-finding mission right now.
That and the fact you really, you can sit and look at it. You can come back to the dugout and say it's short, quick, gets on you in a hurry. It's got some run and tail. But until you get up there and face it a lot of times, it's not the same thing in your eyes it's in his eyes. So I think when you say fact finding, it's a 1 inning, 2 inning fact finding mission to where you get as many guys in the lineup as you can. Interesting note, they foul off about 23% of his fastballs. We talk a little bit about that when Nicasio's on the mound.
That's a good piece of hitting right there by Dexter to get to that pitch. 95 with a little tail on it. Fernandez, a 20-year-old kid from Cuba who has a marvelous story. Got to the United States at 15. Took him 4 attempts to get from Cuba to the States, and he walks. Dexter Fowler, good at bat from Dexter. Take a look at the Rockies, the Marlins defensively. It's brought to you by Excel Energy. Make the choices that fit your life, and Excel will provide you the energy to power it. Visit responsiblebynature.com to learn more. Marisnick flanked by Stanton and Yelich in the very young outfield. Ed Lucas is at third. Echeverria is at short. Solano at second. Logan Morrison at first. And the veteran Jeff Mathis is behind the plate.
And as a manager, sometimes you try the hit and run. You try to steal when it's a young kid on the mound, even though he's got a lot of poise, to see if you can disrupt it with his first time in altitude. Thinking I got to do something different or something special. So if you could create some traffic and make him start thinking about a lot of things, maybe you can get after it. Nobody else has been able to pull it off, but it's first trip for him in altitude also.
DJ 3 for 4 last night. The Rockies had 9 hits. They could just score 1 run. That came on the home run by Troy Tulowitzki. DJ is going well. This was true in his career as a minor leaguer with the Cubs, and also since he's come to the Rockies. He wears out the right side of the field.
And surprisingly, they've shortened up so much on the double play ball that you really open up the right side. And last night he didn't have a lot of guys on base, but he sure put himself on base. 3 singles last night, everything to the right side of the infield. Line drives, some hard, some soft, but nonetheless they all fell in for base hits.
He really stays inside the baseball with his hands. One of the things they've worked on him with in spring training in particular is getting the barrel out. That's line to right's got to get down. Fowler read it wrong. Stanton is going to double him up, and it was dropped by Morrison. The Rockies catch a break. Logan Morrison just flat didn't catch the ball from Stanton. Wow. That was a misread by Dexter. The ball was hit very hard. Stanton caught it, George, rather easily.
He did catch it easy, and he really took his time to make sure he didn't rush this throw. Watch when he catches it. He runs a few more steps, gets his balance, and then throws a strike over to Morrison. It popped out of his glove, plain and simple. Didn't catch the baseball. The ball's got to be caught, and it's got to be in the glove.
And they're going to give an error to Morrison.
As they should. It'll be his 2nd of the year.
And Stanton gets an assist. Here's Cargo. He had an opposite field double off the top of the left field wall last night. And the fastball at 95 is away.
How about this? 6 for 46. This is 3 hole hitters against Fernandez this year. Three of the 6 hits have left the ballpark.
Another
fastball and is fouled straight back. If you've been watching the Rockies every day, you probably are not surprised by what I'm about to say. If you followed the Marlins all year, I know you're not surprised. In the month of July, the Marlins are last in all of baseball in scoring runs. They've scored just 50 runs in the month of July. The Rockies have scored 51, 29. Last night held to a single run. Fowler gets picked off, and the throw to second is going to erase him. So they finally get Dexter. It'll be a caught stealing 1-3-6.
Thinking about first move, I'm going. That's exactly what happened. And Fowler does snap throw to first and on to second. As a base runner, I like guys that try to outrun the throw, make them throw or hurry their throw. Hopefully it's high, you can slide under. Not the case this time, and Dexter picked off.
1-2. Seattle surprisingly has led all of baseball in runs scored. They typically don't score a lot. That's in July. Tigers are second. That's not a surprise. The Dodgers are third. That's not a surprise. Cargo's work so far in July. Hernandez shakes off 3 signs from Mathis. Now he has a pitch. George, that almost looked like
changeup.
You have an 88-mile-an-hour changeup with something with a lot of sink on it.
Well, it's a changeup. It was an 88. What he's trying to do is just roll this thing over. See a 3-finger circle change or a 3-finger change. Pronated to the inside, had it pushed back on it.
Good looking pitch. He looks about 20, doesn't he?
It's more like about 16 to me. Take the goatee off, it's maybe not even that old. First time I met him was at Aflac. The young man came out there as a junior going into his senior year and pitched in the ball game, pitched 1 inning. Kind of under the radar. You know, they pushed for him. Roger Maris is one of the sons coaches Aflac, comes out of Florida to do it. And he kept said, wait till you see Fernandez today. It was special.
Rockies got a walk, but Dexter was erased on a caught stealing. Well, go to the second, no score. Brought to you by the Honey Smoked Fish Company. Ready to eat energizing superfood you can add to any dish that's healthy and delicious. Here's Mark Stout. Mark.
Hey guys, in yesterday's game we told you about Michael Kadire and the manager of the Marlins, Mike Redmond, being best of friends. Cuddy talked about Redmond yesterday. How about the manager on Michael Kadire tonight?
He's a hard-nosed guy, man. He slides hard into second. He's gives probably the hardest high fives I've ever felt in my life when he gets fired up. But yeah, he's you know, like I said, you see a guy come up as a young kid, and you want them to be successful, and he's a good guy.
Now, guys, I thought that Redmond said he was in Kadaire's wedding, but Michael told me that no, he was at the wedding. But since there were 150 people at the wedding in Jamaica in November, it was like everybody was in the wedding. So high fives, I'm assuming, all around when that happened.
Well, I think if you have a wedding in Jamaica, it's a vacation, and everybody just happened to show up where you were.
You're in it, right? You're part of it.
They're
exactly, George.
They're having breakfast tomorrow morning, Mark, and Mike said, I'm making him buy. I caddied for him long enough. Here's the 1-2. It's fouled off by Ed Lucas. Lucas, home run, a base hit last night, 2 for 5. This is his first season in the big leagues, despite being 31. On deck, Jake Marisnick. 2-2. Marisnick making his big league debut.
More power from this young man than Yelich. This guy's got 12 home runs, 46 RBIs when he gets his chance up there out of Double-A.
Three and 2 on Lucas. Those two kids, George, the 7th and 8th Marlins to make their big league debut this year. In the air to Kadair and right, 1 out. The Rockies defensively brought to you by Excel Energy. And let's take a look at the Rockies gloves. Cargo is in left field, Dexter Fowler in center, Michael Kadair in right. At third base, Nolan Arenado, Troy Tulowitzki at short, DJ LeMahieu at second, Helton's at first, and Willeen Rosario doing the catching. Excel Energy. Visit responsiblebynature.com to learn more. Marisnick takes a strike. You know, Marisnick, Yelich, and Arenado are all good friends. They grew up in Southern California playing with and against each other on various all-star teams and the like. Tulowitzki from Northern California, who played college baseball in Southern California, throws out Marisnick. You can tell he gets up the line well. 2 gone, and that'll bring up Donovan Solano. Saw Donovan's brother George earlier this year in Washington. Jonathan, a catcher.
A lot of brothers have played and been very successful at the big league level. This one got smarter. He's a second baseman. Why do you want to wear all that stuff and sweat like that? Should play second.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you, and you've said it many times, and you know this, George, from your lengthy big league career, if you can catch and throw, there are a lot of backup catchers that never ever really start, that hang around for a decade plus in the big leagues.
Henry Blanco, try 18 years.
Yeah.
Been around a long time, and he's still there. Was released earlier, picked up by, I believe, Arizona again. I got to look and see.
The Rockies, I mean, not as the Rockies had one last year, who's now in Arizona doing a good job backing up Will Nieves.
Guys stick around a while. You'll end up getting 5 to 7 years at the big league level. Bill Plummer backed up Johnny Bench for a long time.
Another opportunity for Tulowitzki. Chacin dealing ground balls. And it's a 1-2-3 second inning for Jolis. No score.
Helton in the second inning against Jose Fernandez. Rockies fans join Root Sports and the Rockies today in their new initiative, Hit Count, support Children's Hospital and Special Olympics Colorado. Here's how it works. Pick your favorite player, and your donation will be determined by the number of hits in the second half of the season by that player. And we can follow the tracking of the player's stats online throughout the year as well. For more information and to back your favorite player, visit Rockies.com/hitcount. Tulowitzki, a home run last night, is 17. Takes ball one from Fernandez. It came on a 3-0 pitch. Really the only error that Tom Kohler made.
Fastball up and elevated out over the zone, allowed him to extend those arms pretty good.
Talked to some members of the Marlins organization today and felt that was Kohler's best moment so far. Best outing as a big league pitcher. Hard to argue with. He was almost dominant for 7 innings.
For shortstops right now, I know Tulowitzki hit a lot of home runs early, but that 17th tied him with Hardy for the lead among major league shortstops. So Desmond with 15. Segura, the young shortstop in Milwaukee, you'll see this weekend with 11. Ramirez is coming on, though. He's got 10 right now.
That's a strike, 1 and 2. Dodgers losing right now in Toronto. Dodgers have won 4 in a row. Toronto's up 5-2. They're in the 6th inning. Dodgers have taken a half-game lead. Now it's 5-3. Dodgers have taken a half-game lead in the National League West. The Rockies are in third, 4 back. 1-2. And Troy fouls this off. Who wants tacos? Remember, when the Rockies score 7 or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Really good Tuesday night crowd. A lot of folks in the upper deck. Rock pile filling on up. Nothing like summer in Colorado. When I first moved out here, George, as you know, I was in Aspen for a year and a half with a small television station up there. And I arrived in the middle of the winter, and fortunately I love to ski. And everybody said, well, if you think you're having fun now and you think it's beautiful and all that, wait till the summers.
Yeah, the spring and summer here is outstanding. The falls go up in the mountains at that time. A lot of fun.
Temperature holding at 88 degrees here a few minutes after 7 o'clock. And Troy went. He doesn't know it yet. He's still hanging around waiting for another pitch. Now he glances down at Dan Iasanya. And that's strikeout number 2 for Jose Fernandez, who averages a strikeout per inning pitched.
Let's watch the bat come through and see if that's exactly what happened. You know, they look at that first base line to see if he did. You see Tulowitzki put out his arms like, I didn't go. According to Dan, he did.
Kadire. Big chopper to short. And Echeverria throws him out. 2 gone. Todd Helton will step up. Rockies fans, text Toyota followed by your questions. We'll answer them in the 5th inning. You must text your question to 720-720. So Jose Fernandez, on his 4th attempt, was able to get across on a boat with a number of others through the night to Mexico, and then a couple of months later landed in Tampa, high and deep right field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. Todd Helton has taken the kid deep. His 7th big fly of the year, and it's 1-0 Colorado.
Yeah, when you think that bat has started to slow down because of age, you better think again. He looked inside, he got inside, and left the yard with it, and did it in a hurry.
second deck shot for Helton.
Helton now has tied Joe DiMaggio with 361 career home runs, number 76 in all of baseball. He knew it. He wanted to watch that one. That one he got out.
That was a no-doubter. And it had to feel particularly good to give the Rockies an early lead. Also coming a night after Helton went 0 for 4 with 3 punch-outs. And there he is with the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio. His good friend Lance Berkman, just 5 more home runs at 366. Take a look at it from the Mike Shaw Subaru Supermo.
Yeah, you're talking about turning on an inside heater and catching it. Look at that head. You couldn't have put a better perfect swing on a baseball than what Todd Helton did on that fastball.
And the 0-2, Rosario is a strikeout victim. 2 punch-outs in the inning for Fernandez, but also the home run by Helton, and the Rockies lead at 1-0. Take another look as of the year, career home run number 361, tied for 76th all time. Todd will get ready to play defense, and for Chacin, he'll see 8, 9, and 1 in the Marlins lineup. Jeff Mathis, Jose Fernandez, who could swing it, and then Adeiny Echeverria. There's a strike. One of the big differences with Chacin for most of this year, save when he came off the disabled list, is George, he gets outs pretty quick. In the past, no question he had great stuff, and he wipe out slider when he get ahead, a wipeout changeup as well, but he elevates pitch count frequently. That has not been the case this year.
Because he was going for strikeouts as a younger pitcher. You go for strikeouts, you're going to have high pitch counts. Once you can trust the stuff and the defense behind you to put it in play with some movement on the fastball, that's when it all gets good. Struggling here as he's falling behind 3-1 on Mathis, the 8-hole.
That's because we're talking about him getting guys out very quickly. Ground ball to Arenado. Nolan's got it. 1 out.
Follow the Rockies on your phone or iPad with MLB.com @Bat13 app featuring pitch tracking, stats, highlights, and a whole lot more. Anything to do with the Rockies, if you're not around, go right there. You can figure it out if you're not around the house. Rockies.com until give you more information about it.
Outside on Fernandez. He likes to swing the bat. Had a 2 RBI game earlier this year. Third youngest player in Marlins history to make his big league debut. He's in good company. The only guys who made their major league debut at a younger age than his 20 years and 250 days. Miguel Cabrera, 20 years 64 days. Giancarlo Stanton, 20 years 212 days. Both of those guys have gone on to have nice careers. In particular, Miguel Cabrera. Guy throwing to him, you know, we've been talking about Chacín for a number of years now, but Jolis is just 25. He won't be 26 till next January. See you later. Fernandez will have to jog back to the dugout. Time now for Who's Flying High, presented by Sky Venture Colorado Indoor Skydiving. Look at this, National League ERA leader since June 7th, number 4 in the league, Jolis, number 5, Jose Fernandez. Jeff Locke's had a great year for Pittsburgh. Gio Gonzalez, Willie Peralta on the list as well. If you've ever dreamed of flying, now's your chance. Visit SkyVentureColorado.com for more information.
It'll be interesting to see how Pittsburgh handles the loss of Jason Greeley, who had to walk out of the ball game last night in the 9th inning. National League saves leader.
You know what,
kind of the staple of everything for that ball club, and then now all of a sudden you're going to lose him. It's going to be a minimum 4 weeks before he's back in a ball game.
We wish Jason all the best. Good guy, and he's had a career year, but you know what that's about, don't you? It's the SI jinx. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated this week.
He's been on a lot of different things, but I don't know if that would have. Usually your performance drops. You don't.
Ooh, look out! Chacín got hit, and Echeverria is at first base with a single, and now Chacín will get up and see how he is.
Well, the sting has happened now, I can tell you that. Got hit up in that upper thigh area, and a nice little bruise will be on that. Scotty Garrett out to check on him immediately, but this line shot right back up the middle. Caught him right on the inner thigh and then ricocheted out. Not a whole lot you can do to react to that. Have him throw 1 or 2, so make sure you don't shorten the stride up. Do something different that's going to cause some kind of discomfort or arm injury.
He said he's fine. Jimmy Wright wants him to throw another pitch.
He wants to look from it from the stride standpoint is what he's looking for. Did he shorten the stride up to compensate? See him look down where that foot's landing every time.
It's interesting. He threw breaking ball there. So Jolis apparently okay. Only 2 outs. Echeverria at first base with yet another July hit, leading the National League at .418 coming in the month of July, second in all of baseball. And now here's the kid again, Christian Yelich, single in his first major league at bat between first and second. Echeverria had a stolen base last night, his 5th of the year.
Been caught 5 times. Big lead at first.
And a strike on Yelich. You may recall, if you follow spring training stats, and you probably, if you're a Rockies fan, know more what's going on in the Cactus League than the Grapefruit League. But this kid, who, as George mentioned earlier, was the organization's player of the year twice, hit 9 home runs in the Grapefruit League. Mike Redmond wanted him on the big league roster. There goes the runner, and Rosario can't get it out of his glove. A stolen base for Echeverria.
Well, big jump. He had a big lead over there, and then it's curveball. So whenever you see Rosario try to make that exchange, didn't pop out clean, and on the curveball, everything's going to be to the advantage of the runner anyway. Better just to eat the baseball.
Ball and a strike on Yelich. And Yelich with a base hit that's going to tie up the game. So he's 2 for 2, and he has his first big league RBI. That stolen base turns out to be huge, as Miami, who's been awful all year and of late, hitting with runners in scoring position, produce with Christian Yelich. They were 2 for their previous 34 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, see it again. I want to see the pitch. Change up. Yeah, the ball, not a bad pitch at all. Just on the outer half of the plate. He was well out in front of it. Just lifted it out over the infield of the Rockies into that area. The outfield made it difficult. Dexter had to go cut it off. Not in time to have any kind of play at the plate.
And now it's Stanton. And Stanton hits one high and deep to right field, and Kadire makes the catch. Right at the wall. A couple of hits late in the inning, and the Marlins have caught the Rockies. It's 1 apiece. In the bottom of the 3rd inning, at Nolan Arenado initially, and then Chacín in the top of the order. Here's pictures from his last start. He gave up just a run in 6 innings against the Washington Nationals. And then he went on and pitched a 1-2-3 inning in the All-Star game with a couple of punch-outs. He's ahead of Arenado 0-1. He's telling that story about him defecting from Cuba. It was on his 4th try that he was able to get to the States. Easy play in left field for Yelich. On that 4th attempt, and he was with his mother, it's at night and it's pitch dark out, and somebody yelled, "Man overboard." He dove into the water and saved the person who was overboard. He didn't realize it until he got in the water. It was his mother. On their first attempt, when he was 14, they were caught, and he spent 2 months in a Cuban prison, and his cellmate
was a guy that was in there for murder. It was actually a mass murder. He killed like 7 people. So when he made his major league debut, they asked him if he was nervous. He was pitching in New York. And he said, quite honestly, and he wasn't trying to turn his nose up at the person asking the question. He said, I'm not nervous at all because of what I've been through. And you can understand it. 2 outs.
You can more than understand it.
The other great stories about Jose Fernandez, and it makes him very emotional, but he's extremely close with his grandmother, Olga Fernandez, who remains in Cuba. She's been denied a visa several times. And every night that Jose pitches, she'll take a transistor radio and go to the roof of her apartment because she can get the Miami radio station from her roof that carries Marlins baseball. So the only thing she worries about is inclement weather on the nights that Jose pitches.
Yeah, there you go.
A 1-2-3 third inning for Fernandez. 1-1. Rockies and Marlins tied up.
And the Rockies won. There's a familiar face in the ballpark. He works for the Marlins now. Preston Wilson, the former Rockies outfielder who hit 57 homers as a Rocky. He just watched Todd Helton hit a home run earlier today. I asked him about number 17.
I remember just watching him, marveling at the at-bats that he would have, and he was probably in the top 5 guys I've ever watched as far as his ability to dictate what the pitcher's doing.
And that's a point that I want George to talk about, the ability to dictate what the pitcher is doing. What hitters come to mind during your career that could do that, like Todd Helton?
Kirby Puckett, George Brett, Wade Boggs. I mean, guys that always hit
famers, right?
Yeah, they hit 330, 320, foul off a lot of pitches. And I always said, instead of dictating what a pitcher will do, it's they get themselves out. You don't necessarily get them out, Mark. They get you out. I mean, they hit the line drive right at somebody.
And that explains Helton, too.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
It's cool to see Preston Wilson, guys. I'm sure you said hello as well.
Yeah, it's great to see Preston, who was a tremendous pro, and he learned the game from his father, who was a great pro, Mookie Wilson. And there's one of my all-time pros, and I know yours as well, George, in Juan Pierre. And JP at 35, still going strong. He's got to defer to the younger guys. And we spent a lot of time chatting with him the last couple of days. Mike Redmond called him in his office today, and he said, listen, I know you want to play. I know you can still play. We have to play the kids. And it's not as if Juan was it all being a malcontent. Juan just goes about his business. And Mike went on how valuable he has been in helping the young guys the young outfielders, the young guys in terms of running the bases, because Juan's all about doing things the right way.
Well, here's the thing about it. Juan understands that, and Juan may get traded before the deadline. Somebody needs some speed at the top of the lineup. Somebody needs a stolen base. A lot of different teams are looking for guys like Juan Pierre because they're great clubhouse guys. They're great leaders, just what you're talking about.
14 years. Listen to the numbers for JP. 295 average, 2,206 hits, which is 179th all-time. 609 stolen bases. To George's point, that's 18th all-time. He can still run. I mean, he doesn't look any different physique-wise than he did when we first saw him break into the big leagues.
Well, he's been able to take care of his body. He's been able to stay away from hamstring injuries, knee injuries. I think that's the biggest key for him.
One of my favorite Juan Pierre stories is the 1-2 to Lucas. LeMahieu will get out there and make the catch. In spring training, there's always one day that is a complete off day for the players. There's no games. They don't work out. The coaches, the managers, they don't want to see anybody on site lifting weights unless you're getting treatment. That's the only way you should be at the facility. Well, Buddy Bell said, all right, you know, next Thursday, it's already planned out at the start of spring training. It's an off day. And he told Juan Pierre, he had to call him in his office. He said, Juan, if you come to the facility to work out, I will fine you.
Well, it's just kind of a creature of habit, too. He doesn't know anywhere else to go. He doesn't have a lot of habits. You know, golf, fishing, those kind of things. He just loves the game of baseball. That's why he's played 14 years.
That's a strike. One of his avocations, he's a huge basketball fan. Still follows the Nuggets from afar, and of course living in Miami full time.
Oh, he's front runner.
He's kind of liked what the Heat have done of late. Here's the 0-2. It's 1-2.
What do you think, Dougie? I haven't mentioned you tonight, Doug. Do you think that's being a little front runner? Leave the Nuggets for the Heat just because you live in Miami? He said it's a front runner.
Ground ball to short. Tulo's got it. And Jake Marisnick is out. A 1-2-3 fourth inning for Chacin. One apiece. Welcome upstairs. I'm trying to look at that display with
where was
Jordan.
that?
I think it was somewhere in the concourse.
No kidding. Where at? That's the game use stuff you can go down and get, like used bats, balls of the game. Guys sign them.
You're answering your own question.
Yeah. I don't know where that is, though. It's down on the concourse.
DJ LeMahieu at the plate. Check swing foul ball. It's by section 145.
Right up behind the first baseline. Cool. You know who works really hard on that? Jim Kellogg. There's a lot of work going down to get this stuff signed, collected.
Jim wears a lot of hats. This is a ground ball through the left side. Stay hot, DJ LeMahieu. 3 hits yesterday. He lined out to right in his first at bat. And he singles leading off the 4th inning, and that'll bring up Carlos Gonzalez. It will take us to our AT&T trivia question as well. There have been 47 players in Major League history to play for both the Rockies and Marlins who entered Major League Baseball together in 1993, but only one player of those 47 has played for only the Rockies and Marlins. Can you name him?
A lot of hints being thrown around.
Yeah, well, that's Preston Wilson hiding behind the dugout there. That's a hint. May not be an accurate one, but it's a hint. Cargo bounces one to second, and they'll get one there, and that's it. So that'll bring up Tulowitzki, 1 out.
You got to keep your hand on the bag, but watch exactly what DJ does. He goes in with his legs out wide, only to disrupt and think that if I get here quick enough, he won't be able to complete that throw, and that's exactly what happened.
Cargo stole 2 bases in a game 2 days ago. He has 18, which leads the club. See if he looks to take off here. Jeff Mathis has thrown the ball well this year.
50% is what he's thrown out. 13 of 26.
And that is outstanding. Tulo struck out on a check swing his first time. And a quality hack there, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Fernandez has been as high as 99 with his heater this year. When he showed up at his first high school baseball tryout, at the time he spoke very little English. And he was really struggling with the transition to America, finding his niche. He was put in, I guess, the last group of players working out. This ball's lined down the left field line. Trying to get over and cut it off as Yelich. He will, but Cargo's going to go first to third.
Only because he came up throwing to the wrong base. I think he thought that he was going to go to second with it no matter what. But as soon as Yelich came up with the throw, Cargo had stopped because he got to it in a hurry. Watch right here. Cargo's going to take off. This ball's scalded by Tulowitzki. He's going to backhand. He didn't even look to third. He goes straight to second, and that's when Cargo took off running. So he got right here, kind of hesitated, then went ahead and made the move into third base, looked back over the shoulder.
First and third, Michael Kadire at the plate with 1 out. Kadire hit a chopper to short.
Right guy at the plate right now. 338 average with runners in scoring position this year.
331 overall. Outside ball 1. Auto glass damage, call Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com.
Fernandez, the opposition with runners in scoring position, 175 average. I suppose that's what the good ones do.
2-0. So Fernandez was put in the last group, which had the least talented players. And then he starts throwing off the mound, and he hit 93 as a 15-year-old. The coach said, whoa, what's going on over here? 2-1.
His ability to do that, slider at 84. Behind in the count, a fastball count, and he threw it right on the block outside corner. The separator. You can call that pitch.
That's a strike also. He went back to it. You know, in years past, this would be a situation where you'd see perhaps Tulowitzki take off first and third, but he rarely looks to run now. Some of the leg issues. He takes off now, and he'll steal second base on the strikeout. And that is his first stolen base of the year. Todd Helton coming up with 2 outs. He's the reason the Rockies have a run on the board. A 417-foot home run to the second deck and right. 2 innings to go.
Fernandez was so locked in on striking out Kadire, he forgot that Tulowitzki ran. The only reason I know that is because he was standing on the mound, and Mathis is looking at him, and he's like, looks around and says, "Oh yeah, he's at second. Okay, we're going with another sign."
You know, Jeff Mathis has been around a long time, George. A lot of years with the Angels. He's a very good receiver, a very smart receiver. It would not surprise me if one of the things he was discussing is, let's be real careful here. Not that we want to load the bases, but you can go right on right against Rosario if necessary. (2-0) and righties hitting in the 170s against Jose Fernandez. Helton, a career .295 hitter with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. 1-1. Rockies hitting in the 4th. They fell yesterday 3-1 to the Marlins. Despite the home run, the outfield alignment is more or less to take away the bloop single, if you will. And somewhat shallow. 2-1. Cargo at third, Tulowitzki at second. Rockies have not been brilliant in the month of July in manufacturing runs. They've hit some home runs. They haven't been able to bunch hits on many a night. 2-2. And now Fernandez will summon Mathis once again.
So what do you think? Should we go with a changeup here? Nah, I don't think so. How about fastball in? You see where the last one landed? Wednesday, July 24th, Coca-Cola and Ronald McDonald Day at Coors Field. Patients, families, volunteers that will be acknowledged throughout the day as part of a special recognition, courtesy of Coca-Cola.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 in scoring position. And he got him on a slider in the dirt. We'll go to the 5th inning. The Rockies and Marlins tied at 1.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Ford Fusion. Quality you want, power you deserve. Ford Fusion, go further. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. By Southwest Airlines, find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Top of the 5th inning, the Rockies and Marlins each with one on the scoreboard. Donovan Solano, Jeff Mathis, and the pitcher Jose Fernandez against Jolie Chacin in the 5th inning. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Mark Stout. Yesterday, the Marlins produced just their 15th road victory of the year. That's the lowest number of road victories in Major League Baseball. Mike Redmond knew what he was getting into. Managed a couple of years in the Toronto chain. Knew that this was going to be a situation where he was going to play a lot of young players, develop a lot of young players. A base hit leading off for Solano here in the 5th inning.
But with that all being said, Drew, what was he doing in the minor leagues with Toronto?
Anytime you're in the minor leagues, you're all about development.
Development of young players. You're going to help young players become big league ball players, and that's what he's doing here. It's just that a lot of these young kids are pretty good players.
Yeah, Marisnik came from Toronto in the trade, the big trade, Reyes and some of the other guys that went from Miami to Toronto. And he was able to tell the organization, the Miami organization, specifically which players he really liked, which helped out. It's our Toyota Talk inning. How many of the doubles leaders ahead of Helton are in the Hall of Fame? Russ and Lakewood. 14 are in the Hall of Fame. The ones that are not, that are ahead of Todd, Rafael Palmeiro, we know why he's not in. Luis Gonzalez, our friend from Arizona. Barry Bonds, who you know his story. Craig Biggio, who ought to be shortly. And Pete Rose, and we know Pete Rose's story. So you understand the kind of class.
In other words, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. I think he will be.
He ought to be. 2-0 count on Jeff Mathis, who was the first person to hit a home run at Coors Field. Need some help with that. Rico Brogna hit a home run off of the former Maine Black Bear, Billy Swift. April the 26th of 1995. Double play candidate if you can get Mathis to hit one on the ground as he did his first time. Spent some time talking to Rafael Betancourt today. He's feeling better, still kind of weak after the surgery a couple of days ago to remove his appendix. And he's sitting there with his 10-year-old son, little Rafi, who's a fixture in the Rockies clubhouse. This is in the air to shallow right. DJ going out. It's going to drop. And it's first and second. Nobody out.
Big swing, and you've got to respect the big swing here at Coors Field, and you know, then your reaction to get to the baseball. You see Dexter move, same time Kadire took off along with DJ, just not there. Kadire had hoped he could barehand this and have a quick fire to second base to try to double up. You see Chacin, he didn't thought maybe he could make a play on that baseball.
Now you have the pitcher coming up, Fernandez. On a bunt. Finish the Betancourt story. You know what kind of tough guy he is. He hopes to be back on the mound in 2 weeks.
They don't want him to throw until the soreness from the surgery dissipates considerably. So that's probably going to take him into next week before he can toss. Put the wheel play on, and the slug bunt was on, and that's a foul ball.
When you have only won that many ball games, which we're talking about 36, you can do some different things in the game, and Fernandez is a very, very good athlete. George, what player were you most excited to see play when you made to the big leagues? Honestly, probably Lou Brock, because he was my locker mate. Walked in and was like, wow, that's Lou Brock. Almost got 3,000 hits. Ted Simmons. Because I was a Cardinal fan, you didn't have the TV exposure you have today.
That's a great bunt by Fernandez, but they're going to get the force throw to first, not in time. Boy, what a wonderful job by Chacin getting off the mound, because that bunt was placed in what is normally an ideal spot.
Yeah, you'd hope for it to die a little bit. Bunted pretty hard. That's the one thing that got it here and saved it. Flipped up to his glove, and then, boy, you can see Arenado air one out to first to try to get Fernandez. But see, this ball rolls hard farther up the line than what you normally would like. I think that's what allowed them to do it and have an opportunity. Solano out at third base. Yeah, you got one out, the pitcher running the bases here.
And their hottest hitter, Adeiny Echeverria, is at the plate. 1 for 2. Hit a line drive off of Chacin for a base hit in the 3rd inning. He also lined to second, was robbed of a hit by DJ LeMahieu, leading off the game. To right field pretty deep, and it's over the head of Kadire. Coming home is Jeff Mathis. It'll be a double and a 2-1 lead for the Marlins. Adeiny Echeverria with his 25th RBI.
Tell you what, he scalded that baseball too. You don't anticipate leadoff guys going opposite field this way with the fastball down and away from Chacin and doing it with authority to that side of the field. And he did just that. Dyer, all you do is try to get it back in and minimize damage. He was able to do that.
Echeverria, another guy part of that huge trade that sent Bonifacio, John Buck, Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, Reyes, and Cash, and that eats up LeMahieu. And safe at first, and another run scores. 3-1 Miami. And Christian Yelich safe at first as that ball ate up DJ LeMahieu. Is a tough play.
When you're playing in, there's no time to scoot back, step forward, or do whatever you think you could do to catch a ball on a really good hop. He was not able to catch this on a good hop, and Yelich just outran the throw. I mean, it's a pretty good job by DJ to stay with it, to try to get there to have a play on Yelich, but he didn't do it.
First and third, still just one out. It's going to be scored a base hit for Yelich, so he has another RBI. He's 3 for 3 in his major league debut. It's reminiscent of Junior Lake with the Cubs, who made his major league debut and had 3 hits in his first ball game. against the Rockies a few days ago. Stanton at the plate is not the guy you want to see right now. Already down by a pair of runs. Does Major League Baseball do anything to help players learn English?
Not Major League Baseball, but individual organizations do. Each one of them have an English-Spanish teacher in the organization. Some have two. They have one here in the United States to further the younger guys, and they have one back in Latin America to take care of those. But as far as overall Major League Baseball blanket over 30 teams, no.
In the case of Jose Fernandez, he took several English courses each year once he got to the United States from Cuba, and he speaks impeccable English. In fact, you'd have to listen carefully to know that he wasn't born here.
Well, the gentleman, I can't think of his name right now. The one that stayed over Contreras and El Duque, Fernandez, also took Fernandez under his wing and made him what he is. I mean, it was more off-field training, the English, how to conduct yourself in America, all those things. I know that scouting director Stan Meeks said every time I go to watch him pitch, this young man or a certain individual would be at that ballpark, be down in the bullpen while I was warming up.
It's a big situation here, the way Fernandez is throwing the baseball. George, the Rockies down 3-1 already in the 5th inning. They have just 3 hits against Fernandez. And you have 6'8" Giancarlo Stanton at the plate with runners at first and third. 1-2 count on Stanton, a strikeout and a fly ball to the wall and right. We're working on Yelich, who can run at first, who is the starting catcher in the Rockies' inaugural game. Bob over on the western slope in Delta. This is a line drive that's caught fortunately by LeMay, who had worked out. He was breaking to the bag because Yelich was running. That's the only reason it's not 4-1. Joe Girardi's the answer to that question. In the inning, the Marlins come up with a pair of runs. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, it's 3-1 Miami. Rockies need to crank up the offense. They're going against a tough customer in Jose Fernandez. AT&T trivia question once again. There have been 47 players to play for both the Rockies and Marlins. Only one has played exclusively for the Rockies and Marlins. Can you name him? I could not. Can you, George?
No.
The answer is Marcus Carvajal. I remember Marcus. He came from Seattle, a Rule 5 selection by the Rockies in 2005. And from there he went to Miami, pitched in just 3 games for Florida, and then was out of baseball, at least from the big league level.
When he was traded to the Rockies over to Seattle for Yorvin Torrealba in 2005. And then he went over, pitched a little bit in Latin America, and it just kind of never heard from him again. It didn't sound right, did it? Just kind of like never heard from him again.
We hope he's doing well.
Yeah.
2-strike count on Rosario, and he's locked up. That's strikeout number 6. In fact, 3 in a row now by Jose Fernandez. Rockies had runners at second and third last inning. When Kadire struck out and Helton struck out.
14 balls so far in this ball game. 56 total pitches. 42 of those strikes. I feel like this is a Josh Johnson type kid. It could just be a big animal. And also, you know, we've got another one that'll pitch the last game of the series, and Evaldi that came over from the Dodgers with a big arm. Battled a couple of injuries of late, but this kid's got a big arm also.
Pound in the strike zone, as you mentioned, just 14 out of the zone. He's quickly ahead of Nolan Arenado, 0-2. Yelich in left. Mentioned that these guys know each other well. In fact, Christian's stepfather's a scout, major league scout, and has a all-star team of high schoolers that Nolan Arenado was part of.
Well, Chatwood was on that team. Chatwood, you know, Nolan beat Chatwood in the finals.
Yes. That game was played at Dodger Stadium. CIF championship. Boy, Chatwood's throwing the heck out of the baseball, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Here's the 0-2. And that's ripped to left field. Arenado sending a baseball in the direction of his friend Yelich. That'll bring up Chacin. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level seats today. Go to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. Inside, ball 1.
First 8,000 fans on Thursday, July 25th. That's the day game. They're going to receive Great Clips coupons. Stylists will be on site providing haircuts and collecting donations for Colorado Rockies charities presented by Great Clips. He doesn't need a haircut, just needs a little trim around the edges.
One out, Arenado at first. 2-1 on Chacin, and he takes low. 3-1.
Yeah, Fernandez looked in, and home plate umpire Jerry Davis, who is a former American League umpire, who typically will not call the low strike. It did catch the strike zone. Good for the Rockies.
And that misses. Fernandez.
Oh, yep, yeah, okay.
With just a walk earlier in the game to Fowler. Walks the pitcher, Chacin, and here comes Dexter.
This is what happens with some young kids. They get disappointed by the pitch previous. that can affect the next pitch.
So Dexter with a walk and a ground ball to third.
And longtime pitching coach Chuck Hernandez will make a trip out to the mound and have a quick visit.
Well, we thank you for texting your questions during Toyota Talk. For more answers, go to our Facebook page at Facebook at Root Sports. Excuse me. Let's start again. Facebook.com/RootSportsRN. Tracy Ringlesby will answer a bonus Toyota Talk question before the end of the game.
Come on, Jenny, quit hiding. You love the TV. Allison's hanging out up there tonight, the producer of the pre and post tonight. Wave, Allison. Come on, Allison, wave. Thank you.
Dexter hits it off the end of the bat to Stu Cole. Arenado at second, Chacin at first. Rockies trailing by 2 runs. And now it's 0-2.
As a base runner on the next 2 pitches, you got to be prepared to move on a ball in the dirt. Because I think he's going to try to bounce a curveball or a slider in the dirt. So if you're Arenado, you got to get a little bit of a secondary lead, be able to move. He went heat up, didn't chase.
One-two.
Tell you what, tried to counter everything up there. Went right back and got a little bit more, and then came back with a changeup on Fowler. 88. Fouled it off, not necessarily the right location he was hunting for.
Two and two. Rockies hitting in the 5th inning. Thus far on the homestand, they are 2-2. They have tonight 5 more. Need to make hay at home. It's 28-23 at Coors Field. And this is on the ground to second. And it's going to be a double play. So Fernandez works out of a mini situation, getting Dexter Fowler to roll into a 4-6-3, 3-1 Miami. This look back looks like this. Todd Helton in the second inning. Got a fastball down and in, and he roped it. Second deck shot for Helton, his 361st of his career. Rockies were up 1-0. But then with 2 outs, Christian Yelich in the third inning delivers Adeiny Echeverria. And the ball game was tied, and then in the 5th inning, Miami got a couple of runs. There's that guy again, Echeverria, who's got the highest batting average in the National League in the month of July. Jeff Mathis scored on that double, and this hot shot by Yelich produced his 3rd hit and his 2nd RBI. You're up to date. Miami leads the Rockies 3-1. Cooney Lexus, where luxury has a new address, now open in Greenwood Village. Logan Morrison in the 6th inning to face Jolie Chacin. And Chacin, the native of Venezuela, with a breaking ball for a strike. Morrison just 1 career hit against the Rockies. He's dealt with a lot of injuries in his career. And this is a line drive to Cargo. He comes on and makes the grab. One out, and that'll bring up Ed Lucas. Lucas is 0 for 2. Fly ball to right and a pop out.
You start to look at their lineup, typically you would say 3 through 6 would be a danger zone for any pitcher. They're 0 for 10.
Rockies battling through a rough offensive period. 6 of their last 8 games, not including tonight, they've scored 3 runs or less. And tonight, obviously, they have just a single run. There's still 4 at bats left in regulation, and that'll be a strikeout. Lucas is gone. 2 gone.
Well, what you got to be concerned with, quite honestly, you get into that 8th, 9th inning, or Qualls, and then you've got Cishak, 2 of the pretty good back end of the bullpen guys right now in baseball.
Rockies have lacked baseball symmetry, George, as I like to call it, because the Rockies starting rotation has allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in 12 straight games. That's where you normally, reel off 9 of 12, 10 of 12, that sort of thing. But the Rockies have been playing .500 baseball during that period because, unfortunately, the offense has been slumping.
And that's where you hear the papers say, with quotes from the players, well, we pitch and catch and we don't hit, or we hit and then we don't pitch. I mean, it's a matter of what Drew's talking about, everything working in sync together.
1-1 on Marisnik. Did you move your car earlier? Somebody's honking at it.
No, that's my train was on the track, so I asked him to move it over.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Well, it's not a train. It's one of those things you push up and down. You go down the track. Truth be told,
haven't seen that since Robert Conrad in the Wild Wild West.
Well, that's where I bought it.
Yeah, heading to Omaha.
No, that's going south.
Here's the 2-2, and it is popped up right around the pitcher's mound. Here comes Tulo, and he makes a catch. 1, 2, 3, 6th inning for Chacin. Rockies will try to get the bats alive. Down 3-1.
Smoked Fish Company. A ready-to-eat, energizing superfood you can add to any dish that's healthy and delicious. By Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by the Courtyard by Marriott, Western elegance in the cultural heart of the city. The Rockies will have the heart of their lineup of DJ LeMahieu, Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki here in the 6th inning. 3-1 Miami. DJ's 1 for 2. He's hit the ball hard twice against Jose Fernandez. Fernandez at 72 pitches as he begins the 6th inning. And that's line to right, fair ball. It's going to get in the corner. And LeMahieu may have a chance for a triple. Here he goes to third. He'll be there easily. Lead-off triple for DJ LeMahieu. He continues to swing the bat on this homestand. 8 for 16 since the break.
That will jump the average. LeMahieu now at 284. He entered at 274. He's jumped to 10 just here tonight. Shot out of the reach of Morrison and into that corner, and I thought Stanton made a mistake. He ran thinking he could cut the ball off. Couldn't do it. LeMahieu took advantage, stands at third.
That can be a tricky corner when the ball gets in there. Stanton just learned it. So Cargo at the plate. 0 for 2, reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th. RBI leader with the Rockies at 66. Nobody out. LeMahieu at third in a 2-run game. And Cargo takes a strike. Good Fernandez. That's the hardest pitch he's thrown all night. That came in at 96 at the knees. Ball and a strike on Carlos. Fernandez, the first pick of the Marlins 2 years ago, 14th overall. Out of a Tampa high school. 1-1. And this will get the run home.
And realistically, as a young pitcher or any pitcher, you're in that part of the lineup of the Rockies with a runner at third and 1 out. You hope you only give up 1. It could get a lot worse with that lineup.
A 3-2 ball game. Tulowitzki with 1 out. Troy singled last inning, actually 2 innings ago now, and stole his first base of the year. The first and third situation.
That's when Fernandez stepped up and struck out Kadire and Todd Helton to end the inning.
Came in at 97
with no direction.
That was about chin high.
It might have been higher than that. I mean, Tulowitzki's upright and he's looking. I'm gonna get on top of this thing. Not at 97. I'm not.
Hey, you know what? Let me correct that. That was chin high in Shaq.
Whew.
Goes up there again.
You notice the difference here in the 7th. Here or 6th inning.
He's picked up a couple miles an hour.
It's been 93, 95. Now all of a sudden it's 95, 97. Like, okay, fellas. I mean, talent like this doesn't come around once every 20 years.
He led Alonso High School in Tampa to
2 state titles.
Well, guess what? There's 15 other teams that passed on him too. 13 other teams passed on him in the draft.
He strikes out Tulowitzki. That's his 7th strikeout. That'll bring up Michael Kadire. He's 0 for 2. Here are the DirecTV NL West standings. Dodgers leading the Diamondbacks by half a game and the Rockies by 4. Checking on that. Oh, wow. I hadn't checked on the Toronto score in a while. The Dodgers have exploded, and they now have a 10-8 lead. They were down 5-2.
At one point, they're down 5-0. Here they come a-running, boys. I mean, that's a big-time offense. San Francisco, though, they did get beat 9-3 in the first ball game.
To Dyer to third, and the play made by Ed Lucas. In the inning, a leadoff triple by DJ LeMahieu. He scores on the ground out by Cargo. It's 3-2 as we go to the 7th.
Top 7, and we talked to Walt Weiss yesterday about the fact that he was an original Marlin.
It was short, sweet. I mean, 1 year, but it was a fun year. It was first year in the team's in the franchise's history, so it was a lot of good memories from that year in '93. And first half of the season we were really good. We as far as expansion teams go, we struggled a little bit in the second half, but it was a fun year. I had some good players on that club. If you look back at that '93 club.
Yeah, they had Benito Santiago. This is ripped to the gap, and we'll watch this roll.
Donovan Solano hoping for a triple, and he's going to respect Cargo's arm. Cargo says, you know what, I'm going to throw it over the double cut right to third base myself. A leadoff double for Solano here in the 7th inning. Go ahead, Mark.
But it was good to see him wearing number 22, and that was 1993 when he was 29 years old. Walt Weiss in the first game had a triple, so he had the first triple and the first RBI in the history of the Marlins. And Walt, of course, now managing here in Colorado.
Well, you notice one of the coaches he shook hands to on that ball club was Latchman.
That was his management.
Yep.
Now, there'll always be close ties between the Rockies and Marlins because they entered the league at the same time. Marlins have won a couple of World Series, '97 and 2003. The all-time record between these two clubs is amazingly close. The Rockies are 81 and 84 against the Marlins.
Mix up, big time. Boy, you're lucky Rosario caught that.
And you're also lucky that Jerry Davis hung in there because he could have gotten blocked by Rosario.
Watch your catcher. He's expecting a fastball, I'll guarantee. But he wasn't expecting this.
Pretty good hands to catch that. That's hard to do.
Well, you're going to catch it or it's really going to hurt.
Yeah. Davis saw that it was a strike. It's a 2-strike count on Jeff Mathis.
Ooh, that's a pretty good pitch.
Looked to be. The all-time record, just off the plate, barely. The all-time record, the Marlins have 1,540 wins, and the Rockies have 1,549 wins. And they both have, listen to this, they both have 1,729 losses. Doug,
wow.
How can that be 9-game difference in number of games played?
Give you something to do, Doug.
What years did the Marlins not play 162? Forget it. 20+ years of baseball, and they're that close.
Really inside-out swing, even with the pitcher up next, trying to advance the runner. And I say that because Fernandez is up next. The bullpen's not going, so he will hit. He's also got 3 RBIs and hit a .172 when he came into this ballgame, so he swings it a little bit. Mathis at 188 as an everyday catcher. Your pitcher's at 161. So he's trying to stay fundamentally sound and go to the right of this infield to advance the run.
1-2 and foul ball. Got him. That's a big strikeout by Chacin. Mathis gone, and that'll bring up Fernandez.
It is a big strikeout, just for what Drew's talking about. Now you got one out of pitcher coming up who has struck out in his at bat today and then got on a fielder's choice, scored a run on a base hit. But Mathis chased after a bad pitch, and he knew it as soon as he offered the bat at it. So all he was trying to do is move things over. Fernandez right on top of home plate. That's a pretty healthy hack. Wait till he gets older, he'll understand. You could get hurt swinging like that.
But think about it, George. He's 2 years removed from probably being a cleanup hitter in high school, right?
Hey, well, you don't know. I mean, coming out of Miami, there's a few good players down there. He might have hit 5th. But he didn't hit off of a slider like that.
Well, there are a lot of good players in Florida, but they're not breaking them off quite like that.
No.
Not at 17.
What he did. Widened his stance out. He went to contact stance. Squatting down a little bit. This guy knows what he's doing up there.
Yeah.
Now strike him out.
Slowly hit. Arenado. Tough play, and Nolan makes it. Boy, that was not an easy play. Looked like, George, the ball veered to Nolan's backhand side all of a sudden, and he stayed with it. And Fernandez, he's a kid, man. He's busting it up the line.
No question. He's going to see if he can't force it. And that's it. Make him make a play on the baseball. That ball even smart. That ball's harder. Watch Nolan right here. He's coming after this ball around the run. Look at that ball spin left on him. I mean, that wasn't an easy play. He had to field it behind his body and then a snap throw to first. Really nice job by Nolan.
And now it comes down to Chacin having to get it out Adeiny Echeverria, who's been a pain in the neck. A line out, a single, and a double. Pitch count at 94. And Chacin due up 4th next inning. So strong likelihood that this will be all for Jolis. In the air, foul, and out of play. Todd will give it the courtesy jog toward the wall. Come on back. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass. The phone number is 303-287-5000 or go to safelite.com. Well, he's had a terrific year. Jolie Chacin, as has the guy who'll throw the baseball tomorrow for the Rockies, Jorge De La Rosa.
2 9-game winners, both looking for number 10 here at the latter part of July. Looking 2 months to go, you start thinking about 15 to 20 wins out of both those guys.
Wow. Where's that?
Agreed.
Guess it was a little bit in, 2-1. Well, if you challenge Dougie, as we know, George, he's going to find out. The Rockies played 3 more games this year. They played a game 163 in 2007. They had 2 more in the lockout season in '94. This is in the air down the right field line. Cuddy may have a play. It's going to be close. Nope. And then Florida played only 161 in 2000 and 2008. And the Rockies also played 1 more in the shortened '95 season. So there you go. Doug, thank you for that. Why did the Senators back in 19... Two and 2, 2 outs. Solano at third. And a roller to short. And a great play by Tulowitzki. Nice job of pitching by Jolie Chacin. Leadoff double by Solano. He stranded him at third. It's a 1-run game as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Rosario and Arenado against Jose Fernandez. Are you the ultimate Rockies fan in South Dakota or Nebraska? Show us why you're the ultimate fan by taking a picture through Instagram or Twitter and tagging it with a RootFanFD or RootFanAny hashtag. For official rules, visit Facebook.com/RootSportsRM. We know we have a lot of great fans up in South Dakota and to the northeast in Nebraska. Jolie Chacin goes 7 innings and allows 3 runs on 8 hits. Didn't walk anybody, George, and struck out 4.
Yep. Nice job by Jolie. Now let's get this offense going a little bit, because after this inning, you're probably done with Fernandez. Then you're going to catch Qualls and Cishek as you did last night.
Todd, a 2-0 count, a home run and a strikeout tonight. Well, his ability to throw secondary pitches behind in the counts for a strike is
pretty good, isn't it?
Well, it's really good, and it's beyond his years. Well, the Marlins deemed him ready, and he arrived very quickly. Just a couple of years removed from high school. Kershaw was like that with the Dodgers. Few can do it.
We'll be at the ballpark July 28th. That's this Sunday. First 20,000, you're going to receive a Ellisburg's 20th anniversary bobblehead courtesy of Sports Authority. Get your tickets today for that ball game against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Fernandez had a minor league record of 14-2 with a 2.02 ERA. That's how you get here quickly. On the ground to first. And was he still on the bag? I guess he was. Thought that low throw from Logan Morrison may have pulled Fernandez off the bag.
I'll watch it again real quick. Nah, he got it.
He did.
Size 13. I think he actually got it right here whenever he caught the ball, stepped right there on the corner of the bag. He wasn't sure, but obviously did.
Morrison apologizing to him and saying, hey, I could do that to you when you're 20. When you're 30, I probably better get a chest
Yeah, I'll give
high.
you a better lead.
Here's Rosario. And Rosario hits one to center field, but playable.
Such late movement on the ball. Dunn and Ramos, the two going down in the bullpen for the Marlins right now. Right and left combination. Charlie Blackmon's out in the on-deck circle. 89 pitches for the youngster.
Nolan Arenado, 1 for 2.
Hard hit ball to left field.
Rockies have been limited to 5 hits. Oh, that's a dirty slider. Location, late movement on it.
83 miles an hour. Tell you what he does, and I said this where I went on air today, Drew. I said it reminds me of Mike Moore, the all-star, big-time pitcher with Seattle, Oakland, later part of his career. His delivery, his slider, everything about him shows me Mike Moore. #1 draft pick by Seattle out of Oral Roberts University. Same size, same body style, big broad shoulders. Hard slider, good sinker, running fastball, got a 4-seam fastball.
And strike 3. 1, 2, 3, 7th inning for Fernandez. That's his 8th strikeout of the game. Miami continues to lead 3-2. pitched well. Jolie Chassin pitched well also, but it's 3-2 Miami as we go to the 8th inning. What's next is brought to you by CenturyLink. Jorge De La Rosa tomorrow will make his 21st start, 9-5, 3.12 ERA. He's been very good. Jacob Turner will make his 10th start. He has a 2.44 ERA. The league hitting just 2.32 against him. Marlins have pitched fine this year. Their problem is they don't score runs. Their defense is pretty sound also. The reason their record is 36-61. They're the worst offensive team in baseball.
Mr. Yelich, you're getting ready to see a very good slider, and you swung and missed the first one.
Well, Mr. Yelich in his major league debut is 3 for 3. There's only been 15 guys since 1915 to have 4 hits in their major league debut.
Overall, Josh doing a pretty good job. You see the 36 and the third, 2-0 record now. Going left, we got Escalona warming up for Stanton in the on-deck circle.
And this ball is to deep right center field, but Dexter will run it down.
Game ain't that easy, son. Pretty good wood on that slider at 82.
Yelich, a .313 career hitter in the minor leagues, 302 ball games. Giancarlo Stanton's 0 for 3. Strikeout, deep fly ball to right, and a line drive double play. Rockies caught a big break. First and third, runner going. Line drive up the middle. There would have been a base hit, but because LeMahieu was breaking to the bag, he was there, caught it, and was able to double Yelich off first base. 0-1 on Stanton, and that is a little bit low, I guess, or outside, 1-1.
Well, I've been doing a pretty good job. It caught enough of it. It should have been called a strike. Hey, I mentioned earlier, Jerry Davis worked in the American League for a long time. Very good ball strike umpire.
Stanton has done it again. That is home run number 11 for Giancarlo Stanton. And it is 4-2 Miami.
Yeah, just looking to see what that pitch was. It appeared to be a changeup out over the middle of the plate. Not normal fastball, was not a slider. Stanton is so strong, folks, that even when he gets fooled, if he keeps those hands back in just the least bit, he could do a bunch of damage.
Yeah, he didn't barrel that. Seven home runs in 9 career games at Coors Field for Stanton. Morrison drives this ball to center field.
So you could read the lips there. Want to know if Escalona was ready to come into the ball game. Walt Weiss now going to make that choice. Pitcher due up first here.
Outman was brought on. 2 of the 3 he was going to face were left-handed. He got Yelich with a little help from Fowler. Then a home run to Stanton and a hard hit single by Morrison. So Josh will go off. 4-2 Miami, 1 out in the 8th inning. Escalona will come on. Morrison is at first. Ed Lucas coming up, and Escalona is in the ballgame finishing his warm-up pitches. Want the latest updates from Root Sports? Text alerts to 720-720 and receive text message updates all year long.
Well, the big right-hander is going to have to come in here and shut this thing down. He's going to get Lucas to start out with. Then he'll get Marisnik, a young right-handed hitter. Try to shut this thing down. 1 out, trail 4-2.
And is this hit hard enough for 2? There's 1, and there's 2. Nicely done. Escalona, 1 pitch, gets 2 outs. In the inning, Stanton, a long home run to left. The Marlins 4 and the Rockies 2. 6 outs of offense to work with. Going to pinch hit and then the top of the order. Who wants tacos, fans? If you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more for the Rockies Taco Special, text the keyword taco to 720-720. Upon that occurrence, the Rockies Taco Bell and, excuse me, the Root Sports Taco Bell will donate $250 to the Colorado I Have a Dream Foundation.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. He was waiting for Charlie to be introduced. He is. Fernandez got to warm up. Now you got to switch at third. Polanco's going to third. Fernandez is going to take a shower.
And you're going to bring Dunn in, you'd think.
And Dunn's going to face the left. And then Charlie will get called back.
And this is, you see how the kid operates? Got a big smile on his face. I mean, he's intense when he's out there, but he's easy going. A little hug from my manager. You know, and he's good for baseball, George. I wish the Rockies were on the other end of the score, obviously, right now. But this is a young man that's good for the game.
And not to mean this in a bad way. I wish he was playing in a major market so it got more attention of what he is. Because he's special.
Lucas moves from third to first. Logan Morrison comes out. Mike Dunn is now on the hill. Now the Rockies are going to counter. They will lose Charlie Blackmon because he was announced, and Jordan Pacheco will pinch hit. So Blackmon announced is no longer available. Scratch him off your scorecard. And Pacheco will hit against Dunn. And Dunn is limited lefties to a .222 average, but he's been pretty good against righties also, a .235 average.
Yeah, really good arm, strong arm. 94 with the first offering for strike one to Pacheco. Season average this season. He has struggled with the bat as a pinch hitter. 269 with 3 RBIs. Yeah, this, I'll tell you what, Dunn's arm comparable to the guy that was in Chicago, Logan.
Boone Logan.
Boone Logan. Got a big heater, tall lefty.
Two-strike count on Jordan Pacheco. And fought off, but caught by Lucas. 1 out.
Just all about timing on a ball like that. Not to overreact to the curve or the height of the ball. Just get there and make the play, and he did. Belial firing away down in the Rockies bullpen.
So Dex will hit from the right side. And from the right side, Dex is hitting .348. Put a pretty good bullpen together down there. Cechek in the ninth, this guy on the left side.
Well, when you have
what
a young,
Chad Qualls has done.
When you have a young rotation, you have to have a veteran bullpen if you can get one to put in play for you, just so you're able to help the younger kids out. And the guys that they got down there, except for Cechek, he's the guy that's kind of a young kid too. But Qualls and Dunn both been around a little while, coming off bounce back years.
You got the former Padre down there also, Frazier and Ryan Webb.
I mean, you know, they've got a veteran pen that can walk you through about the 7th inning on, and you can mix match with some people. Typically here in the 8th, you got Qualls coming at you.
What you wonder about, it's July 23rd, a little more than a week before the deadline. A couple of those guys may move on.
Well, I can tell you right now that Qualls was being looked at by 5 different teams. I won't reveal who last night in the ball game, and Dunn being looked at also. So, you know, Redmond may be looking for some young arms coming at bullpen shortly.
2 outs, nobody on in the 8th inning. LeMahieu, who has swung the bat the last 2 nights better than anybody. A line out tonight, a single and a triple, and last night he had 3 hits. Rockies have 14 hits in the series so far. 9 last night. It produced just 1 run. And tonight, 2 runs on 5 hits. And Dunn works ahead 0-1. Rockies tonight have been out hit 10-5.
Gargo a little jumpy after that one incident.
Well, remember he didn't even get the hit one game. About. Yeah, got hit on a wicked foul ball. I think it was Pacheco hit him.
How about that new look down in the bullpen? Meow. Did you hear the sound effect with the baseball?
I did. Dunn 7th in appearances this year with 49 in the big leagues. Mike began his career in a Yankees uniform. On to Atlanta in 2010, and he's been with the Marlins the last 3 years. 1-2. 2-2.
He's always struck out more than a hitter an inning. He was part of the Dan Uggla deal when Uggla went from the Marlins to Atlanta. A great baseball town you and I know well, George. Farmington, New Mexico.
Oh man, they're coming on too. That's just getting ready to start down there. You know that? Oh, I love that Connie Mack World Series.
Connie Mack World Series done with 2 punch outs in a 1-2-3 inning. 4-2 as we go to the ninth. Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by Ram Trucks. Guts Glory Ram. Rockies in the ninth inning in Lodo trailing the Marlins 4-2. To center field we go. The Toyota postgame show coming up in a little while. And here's Jenny.
Thanks, Drew. Coming up on the Toyota postgame show, we're going to talk No Way Jose. Is this kid really 20 years old and just a rookie? Jose Fernandez, he pitched tonight like a vet with 8 strikeouts. He got a lot of the Rockies vets, however. Todd Helton got to him with the home run. And as Todd's climbing up the charts tonight, he gets the name Todd Maggio. You know, all good Hollywood couples, they have that name. There's Brangelina, there was Tomcat, now there's Kimye. So, of course, coupled together, Todd Helton and Joe DiMaggio sitting 76th spot on the all-time home runs list in Major League Baseball. You guys get it? No? Nothing?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Well, George stepped away for a moment, but I'll explain it to him, I promise.
Okay. I'm not sure you know who any of those couples are. Kimye?
Absolutely.
Who's that?
One of my favorite actresses.
Wow. Then you're in trouble. That's one of your favorite actresses. All right, we'll see you on the Toyota postgame show.
Yes, you will. Well, maybe not.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
See you. Matt Belisle is on for the Rockies, and the first pitch is fouled off by Jake Marisnick. Marisnick is making his major league debut. It's not quite as noteworthy so far as Christian Yelich, who has 3 hits and 4 at-bats. Marisnick is 0 for 3. See the numbers on Matt Belisle. Good breaking ball there, and it's 0-2. Line drive. DJ LeMahieu's there. 1 out. Donovan Solano coming up. Solano single and a double tonight, 3 at-bats. The Rockies in the 9th inning will have Gonzalez, Tulowitzki, and Kadire. And looping liner again to LeMahieu, 2 outs. Possible that Mike Redmond, George, may have Mike Dunn go 1 more out in the 9th inning, even though Cishek is up and he's the closer with Cargo leading off.
Exactly. Left on left. And you start to study history, see what kind of history there is, if any, as a manager. You want to make sure you have the correct matchups going into this last inning.
Popped up right side.
Heads up, Todd.
That was a great effort by Helton. What that hit? That hit a camera?
Yeah, Bo's camera. Any damage, Bo? Bo, any damage? No, none. How about the camera? We know you're all right.
Yeah, he hasn't checked it out yet.
Todd's going to go right over, try to find the wall, lean over. Just caught that. I mean, that's a long run for Todd Helton.
Bo, if you have auto glass damage or camera damage, you can call my friends at Safe Light Auto Glass, okay? Jeff Mathis, 1-1.
A little bit of history there with Dunn. He's 0 for 2, Gonzalez is. Right here, look and see. What's he going to hit? Yeah, right there.
Looped to right for a base hit for Mathis. Polanco with his first at bat. Came into the ball game last inning defensively at third.
After the break, Bilal's velocity has ran anywhere from 90 to 94. Obviously, the break did a little good for him.
Chacin, 7 innings, 3 runs, 8 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts. He threw 98 pitches. He's on the wrong side, unfortunately. Jose Fernandez also threw 98 pitches, covering 7 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, a couple of walks, 8 strikeouts.
You know, if you're manager too, and again, as a 9th inning guy, 8th inning guy, you don't want to face your teammates. If you come in and blow up a ball game, your pitcher's gone 7 innings, young kid like that, you're leaving 4-2, you come in to pitch it. Well, you don't want to mismanage it either.
Here's another line drive to right for a base hit. So Polanco puts runners at first and second, and that'll bring up Echeverria.
Well, you're looking to come out to a ball game. There's a lot of ways to do this. Great Rockies ticket deals available through bookmarkrockies.com/specials, and check back all season long because those change an awful lot. So make sure you check out bookmarkrockies.com/specials. Gets hit a lot of fastballs tonight. See which way Bilal takes it. If he takes fastball aware, if he comes right back with a heater or a slider on that outer half. Heater elevated, wanted on the outside corner. Miami 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. The Rockies 0 for 4 tonight. The Rockies were 0 for 10 so far in the series with runners in scoring position.
One and one. Echeverria is 2 for 4 tonight. A couple of singles. He has an RBI, a stolen base, a run scored. Really sound defensive shortstops. Made only 6 errors this year. got it.
Hard slider, wasn't a fastball.
Couple of hits in the inning, a couple of men left. And in the bottom of the 9th inning, the Rockies will have Cargo, Tulo, and Kadire down by 2 runs. And 4-2. They won 3-1 last night. And in the 9th inning, the Rockies will see the guy they saw an evening ago, Steve Cishek, who worked a 1-2-3 9th inning for his 18th save yesterday with a couple of punch-outs.
You see pretty good numbers coming out of this. 18 to 20 save opportunities. The whip of 1.05. It comes from under, comes from nasty. He can get the ground ball outs and also strike you out left or right-handed. He'll get Gonzalez, who's 0 for 1 in his career. Then he's got Tulowitzki coming up 0 for 1. Kadire in his career has not faced him. So then you go to Todd Helton after that, who's 0 for 1. In fact, the only Rocky to have a hit against him, Jorvit Torrealba.
Yeah, Helton, Rosario,
and Dexter Fowler, who won't probably see him unless the Rockies get hot here.
Well, if they get that hot and it comes around to Dex, hopefully the game will be over by then. Helton, Rosario, and Arenado, the 3 that Cishek faced last night.
He came big on the scene a year ago and really performed well. 18 of 20 right now in save opportunities. A lot of clubs are out to get him, but they control him for another 4 years. Gonna have to come with a lot to get him.
Outside ball 1 on Cargo. Again, the Rockies have been limited to just 5 hits tonight. Their last hit was DJ LeMahieu's leadoff triple in the 6th inning. Cargo got him home on a ground out. 2-0. Cargo 0 for 3. That RBI was his 67th of the year. Rockies have not had a walk-off last at-bat win since June 29th against the Giants on the Arenado single in a 2-1 victory. And it's 3-0.
So do you think right now that Redmond in the dugout's going, I know this is one of the better closers in baseball, I know what's going on, but Dunn had him too. He's 0 for 4 and left on left. It's easy to look up here and manage it when it's a 3-0 count on a left-handed hitter when you're up 2.
And not close. So Cishek walks Cargo, and the tying run coming up in the person of Troy Tulowitzki. That's his first walk in 6 games.
Wasn't even close. I mean, not even close. You bet, Rally had time.
To Miami.
confident throwing against a right-hander than a left-hander. That's all that is, even though this right-hander can do tremendous damage. Tied with all other shortstops with 17 home runs right now with Hardy.
For Cishek, George, obviously it's a different arm angle, not one frequently seen. And when you generally see a guy who drops down, they're in the high 80s.
At most.
This guy's in the mid 90s.
At most, high 80s.
Yeah, you're right.
Most of the time it's 82, 85 with some heavy sink or run. This guy, he can bring it from underneath. And he threw that one at 90. He can reach 94 with it. He's got a great sweeping slider to go along with it. And Fernandez can only hope for a double play and get out of here. This kid watching these last 3 outs pretty anxiously.
One and two. Nothing has been easy for the Rockies offense in the month of July. They've been held to 53 runs. Which, with what the Marlins have done tonight, is 30th of 30 teams. Fouled off again. Marlins came into the ball game with one fewer run than the Rockies had scored in the month of July. The irony is the Rockies have their lineup back together. With Fowler healthy,
yeah, they do,
and the man at the plate healthy again.
You mentioned the Dodgers hung on 10-9.
Runner going, and Cargo will swipe second base with 19 stolen base, and that eliminates the possibility of a double play.
Big jump by Cargo, rightfully so, though. I mean, if you're Cishek, you're not worrying about Cargo. You're worrying about Tulowitzki hitting a 2-run bomb. That's what you're worried about.
While those two meet, Mathis and Cishek, will tell you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. Troy, a base hit back in the 4th inning. A couple of strikeouts as well. 1 for 3. Here's the 2-2. 3-2.
Off the plate with the ball, 83-mile-an-hour slider. It's one of those difficult pitches to take if you're Tulowitzki, but right now Tulowitzki's looking middle half in to drive out of the ballpark. You got a good read on this pitch early.
Healthy crowd of more than 34,000 hoping for a Rockies rally here in the bottom of the 9th.
And they've stayed here too.
Strike 3. Troy knew it. 1 out, and it'll bring up Michael Kadire.
83-mile-an-hour slider again, except this one I'm going to throw it for a strike. And he did. See, Tulowitzki's front leg didn't get a good read on it. Popped straight back up. So he didn't. As Drew talked about, odd angle coming out from underneath like that with velocity. And a slider at 83. Normally those guys' sliders much less, like 74, 75.
Kadire tonight 0 for 3 and a strikeout. The Rockies have struck out 11 times in the game. 8 for Fernandez, 2 for Mike Dunn, and 1 for Cishek in the 9th. Kadire with 16 home runs this year. 2nd in the league in slugging percentage. another one in there at 91. It's 0-2. We're almost in identical locations as you see on the forward strike zone.
And if you go to jump on that as a hitter, it appears middle plate, and you go to swing, it just blows your bat in half.
Cishek has allowed righties to hit under 170.
There's that hard slider out of corner at 82. Taken both times. Once by Kadire, now to Tulowitzki. See if he throws that slider right at him that tries to cut across the middle of the plate here. Like what he did to Tulowitzki. Kadire's never seen him.
2-2. And Michael hits it on the ground to the right side. Lucas to Cishek. 2 outs. Gonzalez to third. Helton will come up.
Yeah, you go back to the second inning of this ball game. Todd Helton against the young Fernandez got a 94-mile-an-hour fastball down and in. And he hit one as far as he ever has. 417 feet from home plate. Circled the bases. And they got high fives in the dugout. You'd like to see one here out of 17. If not, just a base hit, keep it alive. They're pitching away from that power. Mathis really setting off of the plate.
Todd saw Cishek for the first time last night. Two 2-0. Rosario's on deck.
Telling you, you just don't want to even mess with the power inside of Todd Helton. That was a 2-0 slider. A lot of respect shown for 17, as he should be.
And Helton pops it up. Easy play left side. Polanco makes the catch, and the Marlins have won the first 2 ball games against the Rockies here in Denver. Last night 3-1, and tonight they prevail 4-2. Jose Fernandez gets the win. He's now 6-5. Cishek with his 19th save. And though Jolie Chassin pitched well, he takes the loss. He falls to 9-5. Again, a crowd of 34,223 witnessed it. Tonight's Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Delivery of the game is brought to you by Jimmy John's, and the 20-year-old native of Cuba who now makes his living pitching for the Miami Marlins was terrific tonight for 7 innings. He struck out 8. He limited the Rockies to 2 runs on 5 hits. He's picking off his 6th major league victory. Visit JimmyJohns.com to find a location near you. With the loss, the Rockies fall to 48-53. Miami improves to 37-61. Let's get it to center field now. Jenny Kavnar is standing by. Jenny.
Hey, Drew, lots of questions to discuss surrounding the Rockies offense. They were held hitless in the last 3 innings of tonight's ball game. There were our 2 good pitchers that we have to dissect as well, plus 1 phenomenal major league debut. It's all coming up on the Toyota postgame show as the Rockies lose to the Marlins.